So, Attack on Titan is a pretty good anime. Hot take.
Attack on Titan is a legendary anime. Its impact in the West was an unprecedented and unforeseen phenomenon. Attack on Titan being cited by some as the spark that lit the fuse for globalization for anime entering mainstream Western culture in the early 2010s. It is a beloved series with an enormous fanbase of adoring supporters, not only in its country of origin, Japan, but also abroad. In my opinion, Attack on Titan is the progenitor for a whole generation of new anime fans. Any Zoomer you talk to will point to Attack on Titan as their gateway into the medium. With a global approximated sales of over 100 million sold copies and an English adaptation debuting on Cartoon Network with more than 1.3 million viewers, and with its final season currently airing with record high numbers, it is looking to go down as a modern classic. With this video, I'm going to delve into the hidden political messages of Attack on Titan and the author behind the story. Please let me stay up front, if you're coming to this video for an objective, non-partisan and unbiased perspective, you're not going to get that. Attack on Titan is a franchise I adore and means way too much to me. After a lot of deliberation on the subject, I have come to the conclusion I cannot approach this topic from an unclouded, unemotional point of view. Just a heads up, this video is at some points probably going to get weirdly way too personal and emotional, but you know, it wouldn't be a Pixel Hipster video without some spice, you know? Another thing I must state up front, the purpose of this video is not to cancel anyone. Oh god, I can't believe I have to clarify this. The title and thumbnail are purely clickbait. I purely just intend to examine Hajime Isayama and the political themes of Attack on Titan in good faith. The purpose of this video is to start a dialogue on the topics of creator authenticity, creator responsibility, and the separation of the art from the artist. No one is getting cancelled. I'm not about that shit. I'm just trying to display the facts and give my own perspective. At the end of the day, it's up to you guys, the audience, to come to your own conclusions. Oh, and spoilers for the show, because, you know. But, you know, it's fucking Attack on Titan. You've probably already seen it like 50 times. With that out of the way, let's talk about the political messaging of Attack on Titan. Hajime Isayama, much like most manga artists, is a bit of a recluse, but from time to time he will do an interview where he gives his insight on the themes and the way he constructs the narrative. Isayama sensei has gone on the record to say he dislikes diegetic storytelling. He's not a fan of traditional straightforward narratives which set out to answer a complex moral question. He rather construct a narrative with believable and relatable themes where the reader can come to their own conclusions about the moral complex scenarios. Isayama's art is full to the brim with allusions to racial, ethnic, and historical tropes. Due to this fact, his true political messaging of this series has been a subject of furious debate online. Adding to that, it doesn't help that Isayama in interviews likes to shy away from talking about the political. This has led many groups online to transplant their own political ideologies onto the text. On the surface, the story of Attack on Titan is a simple critique of fascism and racism in society, with the depiction of internment camps, Eldians with starred armbands, reminiscent of how Jews were treated in World War II. The inequality and propaganda espoused by the fascist military regime and the many obstacles the protagonist must overcome. Not to mention the fascistic feudal structure of the three walls, where generals and monarchs willingly sacrifice thousands of human lives in the name of the nation. But here is the interesting thing to note. There is many who do not see the story this way. If you hate yourself like me and frequent 4chan, you'll be surprised Attack on Titan has a massive far-right fanbase. Let us just take a look at these interesting individuals. I recently finished watching season 3 of Attack on Titan, and I'll be using it as a sort of example of red-pilling propaganda. The main reason Attack on Titan is such a good example of red-pilling propaganda is that near the end of the 3rd season, it is revealed that the humans currently inside the walls, or the Eldians, also have a diaspora outside the walls on the continent across the ocean, where the Eldians live under the government ruled by another race called the Malians. The Malians look the same as the Eldians, but they are genetically different races. The Malians brainwashed the Eldians into thinking that their history was bad and their ancestors were evil. Monsters even. Since they are technically Titans, I assume, and they forced the Eldians to live in internment camps. After I saw this plot, I immediately drew the connection to the situation we see whites and Jews today. Yes, it's exactly the same. Debatably, the Jews are the Malians and the whites are the Eldians, and it seems that I wasn't the only one to come to this conclusion, since I've seen a couple of Attack on Titan reaction images and threads on Poll, and not only that, but a leftist media outlet, Polygon, made an article saying Attack on Titan had fascist subtext. Daily reminder that Attack on Titan is the white man's anime. I'm gonna fucking kill myself. The story is literally about white people fighting to reclaim their future, stolen from them by inferior races, thanks to a cuck king they had. The characters? Eren Yeager, 6 foot, shredded racist 19-year-old ethno-nationalist who swears to ethnically cleanse the world of the Malians and rebuild the Eldian Empire. Mikasa Anchorman, based and red-pilled trad waifu, trad hopper cutie who fights for the existence of the Eldians, brackets white race. But she's Asian, why would she be part of the fucking... Wait, what? Okay. Armin Alerts, 500 IQ, blonde hair, blue-eyed Aryan, who is the lead strategist of the Eldian military. Attack on Titan is literally a story about black supremacy. This one makes sense. Used to be a creators of great civilizations, enslaved by humanity for hundreds of years, stripped of its own memories and cultures and pride, considered either second-class citizens in white nations or living impoverished and ignorant of their own greatness in their own nations. They start rioting. It seems the story will end with them taking everything they built for free back. Eldians are literally black people. Eren Yeager is literally an black man. Isayama knows if he made them black, the manga would not get any attention. I'm pretty sure he is going to reveal it all during the last chapter. Eren's true name is Kamil Jafir Gamar. Screen cap this. I don't know, I think this one makes sense. OP is an idiot. The strongest human is Levi Anchorman, who is clearly a Jew. The second strongest is his relative, Mikasa Anchorman, who is a mixed-race Asian Jew. It's the opposite of Red Pill. Attack on Titan is about the revival of National Socialism. Almost all characters have German names. Almost all lyrics for Attack on Titan's music is German. There is no other races left but whites, besides Mikasa, the last Asian. Their society is very nationalistic. So many sacrifice their lives for humankind. The Titans can be thought of as either Jews or immigrant hordes. Oh my god. Humanity is surrounded and trapped in a cage by these Titans. Eren definitely represents Adolf Hitler! And some fucking idiot did a... It's Hitler and Eren! Why? Why would you do this? Who did this? Why?
親父は俺に何を見せたかったんでしょうか。これは肖像画。
This goes without saying, but I do think these interpretations of the themes and the story are a bit wrong. It's just Nazis being Nazis, you know, creepy yellow fever, Japan simping nonsense, Whatever. But it is a little bit concerning that Isayama's art has a massive ethno-nationalist fanbase and appeals to people and validates their racist perspectives. Another aspect of Isayama's political world building I would like to highlight is Attack on Titan's parallels to Imperial Japan. Isayama explicitly based one of the heroic generals, Dot Pixies, on the Imperial Japanese Army General Akiyama Fushifuru. I have seen Twitter lefties online using this as definitive evidence for Isayama being a overt ethno-nationalist. Back in 2014, a lot of Korean fans wrote in and sent death threats, citing this creative decision as an anti-Korean form of Japanese racism. I've seen a lot of misinformation out there about Akiyama Yoshifuru. People saying that he's a war criminal and all this other kind of nonsense. Akiyama is a controversial figure, not because of his role in World War II as a military leader, no, because he wasn't in World War II, he died before then of course, but his role in winning the Sino and Russo-Japanese wars. These paved the way for Japan's colonization of Korea, which is why Commander Pixies is especially controversial among Korean fans of Attack on Titan. While Akiyama was stationed in Korea, it is hard to say whether or not he was actually responsible for all the atrocities and fucked up shit that went over there. He is not a war criminal though. That is just a misconception that has been flung out of nowhere. Another interesting thing to note is that Commander Erwin is based on a Nazi general called Erwin Rommel. Which is, you know, a bit yikes, gonna say. Maybe don't base your characters on Nazis. I don't know. And also, another thing to note, Best Girl Mikasa has her name lifted from World War II as well. Her name being based on the Japanese battleship called the Mikasa. Another allegation for Isayama's supposed racism is his Twitter. Isayama has received vicious criticism for his alleged right-wing views on his supposed Twitter account. Let me disclaim here, this evidence is circumstantial at best. Supposedly, this is Isayama's private Twitter account, and this account minimized war atrocities committed by Japan during the occupation of Korea. This account is also following some radical far-right accounts. If you're wondering what is the tweet that caused such controversy, this is it. Essentially, he said, and I quote, "I believe the categorization of Japanese soldiers," and I'll translate, but it'll probably be a shitty translation, I'm sorry. "I believe the categorization that Japanese soldiers who were in Korea before Korea was a country as Nazis is quite rude. I also do not believe that people whose population increased twofold by Japan's unification of the country can be compared to people who experienced the Holocaust. This type of mischaracterization is the source of misunderstanding and discrimination." Basically, for those who don't know what's happening, this person is somewhat dismissing the atrocities caused by Japanese soldiers during the occupation of Korea. While I do agree with them that it is a false equivalence to call Japanese soldiers from World War II neo-Nazis and say it's exactly the same as the Holocaust, it's still not a good look, and if this was Isayama, it would be a little bit yikesy. Anyway, here's my take on all of this. I'm going to give Isayama the benefit of the doubt here. I don't think that he is some far-right ethno-nationalist who is secretly dog-whistling in his work. Isayama has received countless death threats in 2013 for these controversial aforementioned examples, and I don't think that's exactly good or productive. Obviously, we need to hold our creators accountable and deductively reason out whether or not they are good people, but the evidence here is weak at best, and sending death threats is unacceptable in this case. Here's my stance on separating the art from the artist. I think it's totally acceptable to consume art made by terrible people. Just because you like art from a morally corrupt creator doesn't mean it reflects upon you on a personal level. Just because you enjoy art from a morally corrupt person doesn't mean you have to financially support that artist. I will give you an example. I'm a massive fan of Rurouni Kenshin, but the guy who created it is a convicted pedophile. I will never buy anything created by Nobuhiro Hishiaki ever again, because the royalties he received from making his art was used to buy child porn. So fuck that guy, I hope he gets help. So hypothetically speaking, if Hajime Isayama is a full-fledged Japanese fascist who does support something like the Saito Kukai, I would hate him and I would never financially support him again, but I would still enjoy his manga. While I do think those Twitter takes are a bit yikes, at time of recording we don't have inclusive evidence to prove that Twitter does belong to him. As for basing the characters off controversial World War II figures, I will say it is an unusual creative decision and can definitely be seen as dog whistling of sorts. Just because you base the likeness on a character of a real life person doesn't mean you agree with the political ideologies of said people. I'll be honest, I do think Twitter lefties need to kind of shut the fuck up when jumping to conclusions and labeling this author a xenophobic, far-right imperialist or nationalist.
For those who didn't know, Hajime Isayama, the creator of Attack on Titan, is a far-right Japanese imperialist. Attack on Titan's current plot is about how Jews are oppressing white Germans and are secret masterminds behind everything. I'll say this once, I don't care whether or not my cursory interpretation of Attack on Titan's newest arc is accurate or not, because it doesn't change the fact that Isayama is a xenophobic Japanese imperialist and decided it was acceptable to make Jewish people colonizing monsters in this story. Well, that is certainly an interpretation. But, you're wrong, sweetheart. Yes, the interpretation of the story and themes being fascistic and anti-Semitic are justified. People have pointed to the obvious parallels of Eldians and the Jews, Paradise Island and Israel. I don't think there are any dissonance between Hajime Isayama's personal beliefs and Attack on Titan's themes. Yes, Paradise Island is deeply nationalistic ethno-state, but throughout the story on numerous occasions, it is shown how this isolationist policy is extremely damaging and the government treats its citizens like garbage, oppressing them underneath an authoritarian regime. I think this is a work much like Starship Troopers, a story about fascism but definitely not an endorsement on fascist ideology. In my opinion, like I mentioned earlier, Isayama's goal as a storyteller is to depict this fascist world in detailed vulgarity and make the reader come to their own conclusion on the moral conjuries. Please take all this with a grain of salt. I might be wrong here. Isayama might fucking just come out the next day and be like, yo, what's up guys, I hate fucking black people, I want an ethno-state, fuck the Koreans. And then maybe the entire manga might end with fucking Eren genociding the world and then there's only like an ethno-state left. I might be wrong. Please come to your own conclusions and take everything I say with a grain of salt. Or the whole picture.
Hey fellas, let me just hit you with a 600 IQ take here, right? Fascism is kind of cringe. I know. Fucking what? Shinzou wa sasageyo!
I have felt more patriotism watching and jamming out to Attack on Titan than singing the Australian national anthem. I love Attack on Titan. This series has always meant a lot to me. Attack on Titan was a conduit that helped me deal with a lot of shit. That's right guys, this is the part of the video where I get weird and personal and I'm too far in, so you can't stop me now, you son of a bitch. Attack on Titan was a conduit that helped me deal with a lot of shit. It came at a perfect time in my life and helped me articulate and visualize a buried feeling of angst and resentment I held against the world. I was in high school, I was depressed, I didn't have friends, and the ones I had were toxic to say the least. Stuck in a deep well of nihilism, I was much like Eren, I felt trapped like a bird in a cage. I would take no pleasure if Attack on Titan did turn out to be fascist propaganda and its author revealed to be an abhorrent racist. Cause Attack on Titan, to me, has always been a series about perseverance in the face of adversity. It taps into a guttural primal instinct of the human experience, because as humans, it is inevitable that we will feel pain. Attack on Titan is a series where our hero's reality is repeatedly shattered, where their sense of self are continually broken down. It depicts in an absurd shonen vulgarity the undeniable reality of what will inevitably happen to us.
just by living, you will know hurt and pain. Society sucks, people will die, your friends will betray you, your parents who you looked up to will turn out to be as flawed and broken as everyone else. You might even lose yourself and take upon every characteristic you hated so much with such furiosity. Perseverance in the face of adversity is integral to the human experience, because as cruel as the world is with its assortment of hateful events and hateful people, it's those experiences we endure and the act of rising above them that gives life its meaning. Attack on Titan to me is a story about the bonds we forge with our friends and family that give meaning to a cruel and bleak world. And there was a time in my life that I really needed to hear that. Something as minute as wrapping a scarf around your friend is all it takes to bring them back from the brink.
Don't you think about me enough? I've been burning my heart out. Got to face me to tell you I won't run, 'cause I'm worth to say.
この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りしました。
Yo, attaboys, welcome to the end of the video. It's your boy, Pixaru Hipposuta. Hit that bell, become a member, let's go, like, comment, and subscribe. I hate doing this, it's so cringe. Anyway, what do you think about Attack on Titan? Is it fascist? Is it not fascist? Do you think Isayama is a racist? I would like to know. Anyway, if you want to debate and get destroyed with facts and logic, join my Discord. Follow me on Twitch and Twitter and Instagram. Massive thanks to Chloe for helping me film that ending part and putting up with me for the entire day because I'm such a bad fucking director. And massive thanks to Leah for letting me use her cover of Call of Silence. Yes. Anyway, massive thanks to my Patreons. If you would like to join these beautiful, lovely names here, just go over to my Patreon. It's $2 a month, and you get access to asking secret videos, secret podcasts, and you get to ask a question at the end of the video. Speaking of which, Robbie Smith asks, why is Erwin Smith the best character of any anime ever? Well, that's simple, Robbie. It's because Erwin Smith is based on a Nazi. Yeah, anyway, I don't know, it's because he's voiced by Jotaro. I don't have a fucking reason. Well done here. See you next time. I love you. Femboy Nation, rise up. Yes.
2, 1, go. Go. What?